Hey guys, Langley here. I'm so excited for all of you that are now proud Instant Pot owners. So I wanted to create a quick unboxing video because I know my kids love watching videos of stuff being opened. So let's go ahead and do a mom version with our Instant Pot. So first I wanted to introduce you to my Instant Pot Luxe. This is the smaller, cheaper version of the Instant Pot. But like many of you, I took advantage of the Prime Day deals on Amazon. So I now get to add to my family an Instant Pot Duo. And this one is a 60. So this is the 6 quart. And because it was such a great deal, I also got the 80 quart. Or excuse me, the 80, which is an 8 quart. So I'm going to do a quick unboxing of the 60 so you can see what to expect when you open your Instant Pot. Now it's almost like Christmas, and for those of you who don't know, I am obsessed with my Instant Pot. So here we have our Instant Pot. And again, this is the 6 quart. The 8 quart is very similar. So when you open it up, you have your manual and registration. That's very important. You want to keep that. There's lots of good recipes in the manual. We have some packaging. Your power cable comes separate. With the smaller Luxe, it's attached, but this one you need to plug into the back of your pot. So don't throw away your power cable. Out comes our beautiful new 6 quart Instant Pot. So in this case, there's a tag around the sealing button. So be sure to take that off. And so here it is sealed. So the way the Instant Pot lid works is you grab the handle and you turn, and then it releases. And I'll show you another trick as we go a little further. On the inside, you have some really nice goodies that come with your Instant Pot. You have some rice spoons and 2 spoons, 2 accessories. You also have a rice cup, which this is perfect for measuring out rice. I prefer using this to a traditional cup. So depending on what type of rice, usually we do 1-to-1 rice to water, but we'll do more recipes soon, so keep an eye out for that. And then you have a condensation cup that should come with this, and we'll put this on as soon as we have the lid on as well. There's also a steamer rack. This is to drop down in so that you can steam things that aren't immersed in liquid. Now there is an inner pot. This is what you cook in. So be very careful as you are learning and as you are getting used to your Instant Pot. Never put anything directly in here. There's actually even a warning. So now my pot is empty. There's the heating element. This is what I actually cook in. Now you're going to want to rinse this well with soap and water. That sets back in. And the way the lid works, there's a couple different things I want to show you if you can kind of see. This turns from side to side to determine whether it's sealed or whether it's venting. When it's sealed, that's when the pot's going to actually come to pressure. When it comes to pressure, this pressure pin, you'll see this kind of gray pin, when that is up, your pot is pressurized. It will not allow you to open it, so that's a very safe feature. When it's down, you can open the lid. So the way this works, on the front you'll see there's a little arrow on your lid. There is also an arrow on your pot base. Lights are being very shiny. So you start arrow to arrow, and then you twist, and you'll know that it's sealed. It also is nice because it lines up with the little edges. So open, sealed. And again, when you close it to cook, be sure you switch it to the sealing position as opposed to the venting position. So the first thing you're going to want to do, as I mentioned, you have the plug that you need to plug in. So I will get this puppy unwound. So one of the most common issues is people don't get this plugged in hard enough. So give it a good shove in there. Make sure that it's connected. And I'm going to reach this to my outlet over here. You heard a beep. That's good news. Get my accessories out of the way. Now this condensation cup, actually, I should have unplug so I can show you. At the very back, where the lid kind of lip is, there's a spot for this condensation cup to slide right in. That's just going to catch some of those extra drips. When the steam does form and release, that condensation cup will fill up occasionally. So back to plugged. The very first thing you're going to want to do when you get your Instant Pot is to do what they call a water test. So to do that, something else to point out. This silicone ring, it's hard to see, but it's kind of clear in around there. You just want to make sure that that is fully around the metal band. This is what seals your pot. So if your pot doesn't come to pressure, this could be the culprit. So the way the water test works is you get about 1.5 cups of water. And you simply dump your water into the pot. Pretty easy, so far so good. Then you take your lid, lock your lid, be sure that it's set to sealing on the top. If it's venting, it's never going to come to pressure. It's just going to keep bubbling that water. So on the front screen it says off, and we'll go over all of the options in another time. But down at the bottom you're going to have a manual button. And I don't know that I can get it much closer. But when you hit manual, it's going to set to 30. Well, we don't want to cook water for 30 minutes. That seems a bit much. So we push the minus until we get down to 2. Just a quick 2 minutes to make sure our pot seals. Now, when you hit a manual time, what it's going to do is it's going to give you a little bit of a grace period to make sure if you need to press another button, adjust the time. But once that grace period's over, it changes to on. So what on means is the pot is now heating up and it's coming to pressure, and we will have water in just a second. Now, when it's coming to pressure, the way it works is, again, be sure it's set to sealing. The bottom of the pot is going to get heat up, and basically it's making steam out of that water. So it's very important with the Instant Pot that you cook with enough liquid, otherwise it'll scorch the bottom of the pan and the system will turn off. So it's going to stay on until it comes to pressure, and while it does come to pressure, you might see a little bit of steam escape. That's totally normal. That just means that there's not enough pressure to seal, but it's releasing some of that. So again, your pin will come up when it's to pressure, and this on will actually start your 2-minute countdown. Now it's totally normal. You might hear some gurgling, some steam spitting out, and it's really hard to see. I need kind of a black paper to show you. There is a little bit of steam coming out. That's totally normal. Again, it just takes a couple minutes, between 5 and 15 minutes to come to pressure. More if you maybe have a full pot of food. Now it just clicked over. It's been 4 minutes. It just went from on to now it says 2. And if I try to do this, you'll notice that pin is popped way sky high for the pressure, that little white pressure pin. Again, still sealed to sealing. So while that 2 minutes counts down, I want to point out a couple of differences. I went ahead and unwrapped. Here's the Big Daddy, the 8-quart. And again, let's see, here we go. 8-quart. 6 quarts. It's not going to pull with the cord. And here's the Baby Lux. So you'll see what a difference is. So this is 8, 6, and 5. Now, a couple differences. The 8 and the Lux actually do have the cord attached. So the 8 cord is attached, the Lux cord is attached, the 6, removable plug. The other thing is the Lux doesn't have nearly as many buttons. So it doesn't have a yogurt, it doesn't have low pressure, but it's very basic. It's gotten the job done for us for over a year. So those are kind of subtle differences. You can obviously see the size difference. This guy is quite large, much smaller, more compact. Lots of people do like having 2 Instant Pots, or 3, but it's nice because you can be making dessert in one while the other's going. You can be making yogurt and letting that last for a long time. It's also, some people, they cook in the pot, and then they put a lid on the pot, and that goes in the fridge. So really quickly, now that my 2 minutes are up, you'll see it move to L and zeros. That means the cook time is over, but it is on a keep warm function. There is a way to turn that off, but it's going to stay warm until you open the pot. So there are 2 ways to open the pot. The first is called a natural pressure release, and you just let it sit there. And eventually that pressure is going to slowly reduce because the heat is much less at this point. The other option is a quick release. And quick release, now it's very important, this knob at the top is where the steam is going to release. So you don't want anything covering that. That includes your face, or you don't want to block that. That also is going to be bad news. So the way to open it, you turn it to venting. And you'll notice I turn it a little bit, and that steam releases, but you turn it all the way, and that's going to release the pressure that was used to boil the water. Now the purpose of the water test is to be sure that your pot does come to pressure. So this is a successful water test. That means that my pot is heating properly. It also means that my sealing ring is installed correctly. So now that all of the steam is released, once that steam releases, the pin is going to fall. I cannot open the lid while it's pressurized. There's lots of really good safety backups and checks in place, so you're not going to blow yourself up with this pot if you follow just the basic safety instructions. So once that releases, and again, I don't know if you heard it, that little click was the pin dropping. Once that pin drops, you are able to turn and then open the pot. Now there still might be some steam release from the pot, and I want to point out there are these 2 little holes on either side of the 6 and of the 8 where you have a nice little pot lid holder, so that's a pretty cool feature. So now that you've passed the water test, you can go out and create some delicious recipes, and I'll see you back here for some of those